we did this review. So what I would do is I would look through the review and see what we need to remember how to do. So this section says graph from standard form. Again, this is our review. It's going to look really similar to the test. So I would probably write something like for standard form. We are going to have to remember how to do the standard form section. So we need to graph the vertex. And the vertex is going to be something like this, x, comma, y. And the x coordinate, we can find that using negative b over 2 times a. So I would make sure that I have x is negative b over 2 times a on my note card. And then I might write up here somewhere on here I might write, I need to remind myself what is standard form. If you know standard form, you probably don't need to write that on there. But if you don't remember what standard form is, you could write a times x plus b times x. So this is actually a times x squared. I just wrote it, but I didn't say it. Plus b times x plus c. So the number in front of x squared is a. The number in front of b is x. And the last number is c. We don't really care about c for today. So then I'm going to slide this down. For our review, I could remember that this number in front is 1. That's going to be, all of the A's on the test will be 1. So that might be helpful to remember. All right, questions so far? So we need to graph our vertex. So we have x. We need to find y. We take whatever we find for x and we plug it into our equation. Plug in x to equation for y. So then the next thing that we need to do is we need to pick an x, and this x should be close to the vertex. So if I get 3 for this x, maybe I want to pick 4. And then we pick an x and we find y. So we plug in this x to equation, just like we did above. I'm going to slide that up a little bit. And you can use both sides, and if you feel like you want to put an example problem, you could put an example problem. That's okay with me. If you decide you want to reorganize your note card, there's more in the back. I'm realizing maybe I would reorganize my note card. Okay, so that's our first section. So the second section down here, I'm just going to kind of drag my paper underneath. The second section on our review and our test is vertex form. So I'm going to write that here. I don't know why I'm doing it in capitals. Vertex form. So somehow remind yourself vertex form. So this looks like vertex form. And this is where if there's a negative outside, so if we have negative in the front, we will have a down-facing parabola. If we have a positive in the front, our parabola will face up. Okay. And then what we're doing here is we're shifting our parent function. So we have y equals x squared is our parent function. and this graph has a vertex at 0, 0. So we're just shifting this parent function, or rotating it, or reflecting it. Oops. Rotating it if it's if there's a negative in front, we'll flip it down. So this is like last quarter. So maybe if you remember this, you probably won't have to write this on your note card, but I might write this, that if there's a number on the inside of these parentheses, then if it's positive, we have to shift left. If it's negative, we're going to move it right. So that's one. And then if our number is on the outside, if it's positive, the graph will go up. If it's negative, the graph will go down. So here, this one doesn't have a number on the outside, so it's not going to go up or down, but there's a negative number on the inside, so it's going to shift left. This one has a negative on the outside, that's going to shift down 5 and left 2. Okay. I'm going to flip the note card to the back in a minute, so we'll give you a minute. We have one more section. Yeah. Questions so far? Anything we're missing? Yes. Yeah, they're just on the back table. All right, I'm going to flip this over now, and I'm going to flip my review over. So the review says, this is intercept form, but I think the test says something different. We called this factored form. So, or you could say the third section or something. Okay. So this one, we have these factors. We are going to set these equal to 0. Or you can look at this and you can say, oh, my intercept is going to be the opposite sign of this number. So this one would be +5, this one would be +3. So, or you can set the factors to 0. So this one, I think the best way to do this would be an example problem. So let's just put this on our note cards. So we have y equals 2 times x minus 5, x minus 3. So our first step is to set these equal to 0. So x minus 5 equals 0, and x minus 3 equals 0. And then we add 5 to both sides here. So x is 5. I kind of ran out of space there. Here, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. X is 3. So these are my x-intercepts. So on my graph, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, an intercept at 5, and an intercept at 3. So now we have 2 of our 3 points. Let me check the lattice. All right. Do you remember what to do after this for these types? So the next thing that we need to do is find the middle of the points. So every parabola has an axis of symmetry. So we have a point on this side, a point on this side. So the middle here, I will probably draw in my line. So my vertex is going to show up somewhere here. So all I have to do is find the middle. The middle here is x equals 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I just take 4 and I plug it in here. So plug in x to find y. So here's y. When x is 4, what is y? So y equals 2 times 4 minus 5 times x minus, oops, instead of x we write 4 minus 3. And this is something you can just do on your calculator. So let's do that on the calculator. If you need to borrow a calculator, there's some of that bin in the back. So I'm just going to scoot my calculator in here. So all I'm going to do is type this in. So I've got 2 parenthesis 4 minus 5 parenthesis 4 minus 5 parenthesis, and it's giving me -2. So our next point would be, our vertex would be 4, -2, and then just plot that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, oh, oops, 4, -2. So I didn't need those extra lines. And there's my parabola. Okay, questions on that third section? All right. So we'll go ahead and take the test now.